Hi there, you are listening to the Guitar Speak podcast. My name's Matt Wakeling and thank you so much for joining me. Now we're up to episode number 8. And today we finish off our interview with Peter Northcote. We started that off an interview in episode 7 and a lot of people really enjoyed that. I totally enjoyed speaking to Pete, so we bring you a little bit more from that interview. We also speak to Rob Walker, who is the director of the Melbourne Guitar Festival. Now that's coming up in August and it looks really, really cool. So we talked to Rob and found out what's going to be happening there in Melbourne coming up soon. Now, we've got some winners for our Peter Northcote CD giveaway. 3 winners, Fiona Young, Jim Douglas and Matt Bond. You can all expect a Peter Northcote CD in your mailbox soon. So we'll contact you via Facebook, which is where we held that promotion. Thanks, Peter, for giving us some CDs. All right, hey, next week on the show, we speak to our amazing Australian musician, Bob Spencer. Now, Bob played guitar for Skyhooks, he played in the Angels, and he was inducted into the ARIA Hall of Fame. So, fantastic musician, really great guy. I thoroughly enjoyed speaking to Bob, and I'm really looking forward to presenting that interview in next week's show. So make sure you catch that. You can subscribe to our podcast on iTunes. We're also on Stitcher, or you can go to our own site, guitarspeakpodcast.libsyn, Libsyn, guitarspeakpodcast.libsyn.com. We're on Facebook, we're on Instagram. We love hearing from our listeners, so give us a yell. Alright, on to our part 2 of the interview with Peter Northcote. What happened on my recording gear, the last 10 minutes or so of my conversation with Peter, the audio got a bit glitchy and nasty, and we tried to fix it up, but in the end it was just easier to catch up again with Peter. We did it over Skype this time and rounded out our conversation. So here it is now, Peter Northcote. Peter Northcote, welcome back to the Guitar Speak podcast.
Nice to be back.
Cool. Now, where we finished off last time, I was asking you about electric guitars and how you go swapping them on the gig. Because I know for me, if I go from like a Fender scale, like, you know, the 25.5 inch to a Gibson 24 3/4 or stuff, or the different feels of necks. Like some of your gigs, I see you playing heaps of guitars. How do you go with that?
Well, look, I like having lots of guitars, and sometimes I'll take 6 or 7 guitars to a gig.
Awesome.
With the show that I'm doing at the moment, the Pink Floyd, Led Zeppelin, Deep Purple show, I have 10 guitars on the gig. But, if I'm doing a little gig, I'll take at least 3.
Yeah.
And I think that I use them. I don't actually change my patches or my sound or my amplifier settings or anything.
Yeah.
I use the guitars for their tone and their feel, because everything invokes a different feel in me.
Yeah, sure.
You know what I mean? So I do. I just. If I feel a song deserves a Les Paul, I'll play a Les Paul. If it deserves a Strat, I'll play a Strat. And sometimes if you've got a crowd and they're dancing, I don't stop and change guitars. I just deal with what I've got.
Yeah, sure.
Although it may not be the ultimate guitar for the song, I do just kind of carry on. I also, I've realised over the years that your fingers get used to a certain neck. And I do have a problem with, on some guitars, over-bending and over-attacking, because,
yeah, sure.
when I play on my gems, they're all got 9 to 42s on them. And all my other guitars have 10 to 46 on them. So you're overcompensating sometimes. And I think that it's something that I focus on more now. I mean, when you listen to yourself back, you kind of reevaluate what you're doing, and you'll reapproach or find another approach, or try and stay a little bit more in tune. Simple as that. Right. But it is a concern for me that when I change guitars, my pitching isn't 100%.
Sure.
It's not to say that my hearing isn't 100%, and I'm not saying that it is either. But I know when I'm out of tune. It's just the natural thing of a different guitar will evoke a different feeling in you, and you may overbend.
Yeah, cool.
So but they all feel different. They're all going to create a different sound, and that's what I use them for. Not so much for anything else than just a good different tone.
Yeah, cool. So when you say you take 10 on the Zeppelin, Floyd, Purple show, what do you take out there?
Okay, so I've got my I've got 2 Strats that I take. I take a Telecaster, sometimes 2 Telecasters, a Les Paul gold top that is tuned to Dadgad, another black one that is tuned to or G tuning, I think. Okay. Or it could be the other way around. I can't remember.
Is that more for the Zeppelin stuff?
Yeah, for the Zeppelin stuff. So let me just show you. Hang on a second.
Cool. For the viewers at home, Pete is grabbing a guitar.
I can't even show you. I can't even show you because they've actually been retuned. But to get Dancing Days is an altered tuning, as is Kashmir.
Yeah, awesome.
So I take those. I've also got an acoustic guitar, and I also use a 12-string electric for when the levee breaks, and that's cool. Tuned to an F with a weird sort of tuning.
Oh, okay.
So that, as well as a whole, as I say, an acoustic. What else do I take? Can't remember, but I take 10 guitars.
Yeah, cool.
It's pretty nuts.
Sounds like fun. Hey,
it is.
In part 1, we spoke a lot about electrics, but not so much acoustics. What acoustics do you play?
Okay, so I've had a beautiful. Well, I used to have an amazing Maton Messiah, which I bought in the early 90s, probably even earlier, I think. But it was such an amazing guitar, and I happened to leave it in the back of a cab one day.
Oh, wow.
And I never saw it again.
Wow.
So I went and bought another Messiah, and that's been my main acoustic. However, I've got a Taylor, which is beautiful. I've also got a K Yari, which I've got set up as a Nashville tuning, which is the high ends of a 12-string guitar.
Yeah. So the low 3 strings, I think they're an octave up. Is that how you do it?
No, so the E, the A, the D, and the G are an octave up.
Oh, okay.
And then the high E and B are normal tuning.
Oh, yeah, cool.
So that's a really good thing. It's especially in sessions when somebody says, look, we just want to brighten up the top end, but we don't want a 12-string because a 12-string does sound like a 12-string and very jangly.
Yeah.
You add that on top, and one of the formats that I use a lot is a left normal string guitar, a right normal string guitar, and then a centered high-strung guitar.
Okay.
And that kind of sounds nice and full. I have a beautiful I've got a K Yari nylon string, I've got a Yamaha nylon string, and I've got another Maton 225. I can't even tell you the numbers now. So I've got a bunch of things, and I've got a really, really beautiful 2 beautiful guitars that were given to me. One is a Chet Atkins steel string solid body acoustic, which is really beautiful.
Yeah, it's the Gibson.
Gibson.
Yep.
And then Don Spencer, my hero, who is the CEO and founder of the ACMF, which is Australian Children's Music Foundation, which I am an ambassador for. He gave me just recently an amazing Taylor. I can't tell you the name of the number, but it's like almost like a thin-bodied acoustic guitar with a pickup in it and a whole bunch of other stuff. It's a really bizarre guitar. I think it's got a Z in it or something.
Okay.
But that's a really beautiful guitar for live gigs. So yeah, that's I've got so many. As I say, I've got about 60 guitars, so it's pretty crazy here.
Cool. Well, it sounds like you're playing them all, so that's great.
Oh, yeah, some of them. I mean, I've got a lot of junk too, and things that I've bought over the years that have just remained there until I do something about them, and I haven't really gotten around to doing stuff. I'm actually doing a bit of building myself now. Getting guitars and dragging them down the street and painting them and doing all that and putting bits and pieces together. I really enjoy that. I've got so many guitars that I'm enjoying building what I want.
Yeah, cool. I think last time we were talking about the MJT bodies and...
That's right, and the slider pickups.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah. So, Yeah, I mean, like, I'll leave the guitar building to people like Mark Gilbert. He knows how to do it. I just kind of get bits and pieces and put them together.
Yeah, cool. That sounds fun.
I love that. I really enjoy it. So, it's something that I used to do a lot of, and throughout the years I got so busy I'd just hand them off to other people to fix. Now I've got the time, I can do it myself.
Yeah, cool. And again, I keep referring back to when I saw you in your studio, but it was a lot of fun just to pick up a few guitars at the end and have a strum. But mate, they are set up so beautifully. You did that yourself, hey? Yeah,
I'd set them up myself. Even if I do take a guitar to somebody to get refretted or whatever, I'll still tweak it to my own feel. I know it's really interesting because I get people's guitars and their action is so high, and it doesn't need to be high. I mean, people like a high action. I suppose that's just a preference, but I really do believe that you can get it still low and not have to hurt. I'm 55 years old, man. The fingers are aching a little bit now. They can't do what they used to do as much. So I'm never going to kind of give myself arthritis by playing hard.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome, man. So what else is coming up for this year for you?
Well, I've got the Pink Floyd, Led Zeppelin, Deep Purple show. It's all in one. It's a big band. There's like 6 singers, and it's a show. It's a real show, and we have video behind us, and it's quite an amazing event. I'm really, really enjoying that. So the show is actually a really good, fun show. Like I get to play the songs that I grew up listening to.
Yeah, awesome.
And I grew up, as I say, I was born in 1960, so 1970 was when it was all happening, and that was kind of when I was really getting into music, 70s cool. and 80s and stuff. But the 70s with Deep Purple, Led Zeppelin, Pink Floyd, they were the bands that I grew up on. Yeah. It's been really interesting relearning the solos of these songs that I learnt when I was a kid, and then relearning them and hearing them with all the nuance bits and pieces and learning them that way. But I think that the thing about us is that we learn the songs and then forget them and play our own way. Mm-hmm. It's not to say that we don't play note for note solos. Some things are, but they're not like, they're not nuance for nuance. We actually learnt them, know how to play them, and then we've just learned how to screw around with them and make them our own, because we're all decent musicians in our own right. So it's about being that first of all.
Yeah, definitely. I've heard a few. I've seen some of the videos, and it looks awesome. Yeah, it's not like you're a covers band. You're not pretending to be, Jimmy Page. You're not dressing up. You're.
And I think that's what people like about it is that they come and see great musicians perform great songs without having to. It's not like, I've sort of got an email today of, I think it's a Pink Floyd experience or whatever it is, and it's exactly note for note. I don't know if I really want to go to that, and I think I'd get bored with that after a while.
Yeah, sure. I think, I know what you mean about those shows. I think what you're doing with your band, who are great musicians, I think ultimately that's paying the most respect to the music. Yeah.
The songs are amazing. Just the arrangements, some of Jimmy Page's writing is just beyond.
Yeah,
it's amazing stuff, and he understood what he was doing. It wasn't like he was just guessing harmony. He knew what he was doing, and he created some amazing stuff. Some of the time signatures and rhythmical things that they came up with were paramount to anything that I hear nowadays.
Yeah, wow. Yeah.
I shouldn't say that because I still hear some amazing stuff, but it's still one of my favourite styles and one of my favourite eras.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, stuff like Kashmir, the time, the cross rhythms and that.
The 2 sections that stand to mind is like in Black Dog.
Yeah.
Losing, a quarter of a beat each time around the round, and it comes out perfectly in time. The other one is the middle of Stairway to Heaven. Da-da-dum, 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 dum, dum. That's actually on the beat. Some people think it's missing beats and all that sort of stuff, but it's actually on the beat when you work it out. So learning that sort of stuff and being able to perform it and get it right is a great challenge too.
Yeah, cool. So you've got one more of those shows coming up soon?
Got one more coming up in the July the 8th, which is at Sutherland Entertainment Centre, and that's a really good venue.
That's a cool room, yeah. Nice big room.
Yeah, really good fun, really good.
Nice. And are there plans to do much more of those shows later in the year?
Oh, absolutely. And we're changing it up too. So we're adding new songs, and we're the plan is to eventually add some different bands like Black Sabbath and Alice Cooper, whatever, from around about that area, the stuff that we grew up on.
Yeah, cool, fantastic.
Yeah, good.
Awesome, man. So what's the best way for people to keep up to date with what you're doing with this show and all the other playing you're doing?
Yeah, well, look, I've always got lots and lots of gigs on, and I put on gigs all the time around the city. I've just finished for a while my residency at the Bridge Hotel, which I'd been doing for 15 years.
Yeah, that's the Sunday.
I've just taken a break from that. So after 15 years of only 5 days off, I thought I deserve a little bit of a break. So that's what I'm doing there. But I'm putting on lots of other shows, and we are doing... the best way for people to keep up with it is probably via going to my website at peternorthcote.com and signing up to the mailing list. And I send an email out once a week. Apart from that, there is my Facebook site, which is just facebook.com/peternorthcote.
Yeah.
And that has lots of videos and stuff. I mean, I'm technically not an idiot. I'm an idiot with a lot of things, but not technology so much. So I keep adding stuff, and I keep putting content up. So there's lots there for people to see if they wanted to get into it. Yeah. And lots of guitar tutorials for all sorts of players. I mean, I see a lot of stuff online, and it's usually pretty complicated stuff. And I don't know, I think there's a lot more guitarists out there that are, just struggling with simple things, and that's what I like to focus on, I think.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Pete, thanks for talking to me again today. And
no worries.
Making up for the glitchiness.
It was good. I tried my best, man. I got into the studio and I got all the filters on it and everything, but it was embedded deep in there. Digital crackle and stuff was definitely something I couldn't fix. But anyway, we got there.
Cheers, mate.
Hey, let's do another one on the business side of things at some stage.
That'd be cool. Maybe like a round table or something with yourself and some other dudes doing it. That'd be awesome, man. I mean, because with the business, you've done well. When you said you put on gigs, you're obviously not sitting around waiting for a gig. You're making it happen. So that's cool.
Yeah, that's right. Well, it's something that I've always done. I think that it's important. If I only do it because I love to play. I want to play, so I've got to put on a gig, and I'm not going to wait for somebody to call me and then have to play their music.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Cool, man. All right. Well, mate, I'll let you go. Thank you so much. We'll keep in touch, and we'll keep plugging your stuff on our podcast as well.
Good on you, Matt. My pleasure, and good luck with it all. The podcast is a great idea, and I hope you do have great success with it.
Great. Many thanks, Peter.
Cheers, mate.
Catch you later.
See ya.
Bye now. All right, there you go. Peter Northcote, really good guy, and thank you so much again for your time, Pete. Thanks for giving us some CDs to give to some happy listeners. And we would definitely love to have Peter back on the show another time, as we mentioned towards the end there. All right, as I mentioned, the Melbourne Guitar Festival is coming up. We caught up with the convener, Rob Walker, to tell us all about it. Rob Walker, welcome to the Guitar Speak podcast.
Thanks, Matt. Nice to be here.
Great. Can you tell me what's the history of the Melbourne Guitar Show?
Well, the Melbourne Guitar Show, I think, started back in the very early 90s in a couple of locations, Paran Town Hall and Melbourne Town Hall, as part of the Melbourne Music Festival back in those days. Mm-hmm. And it ran about 3 times in the 90s, and it ran another few times when Alan's Music ran a couple of Melbourne guitar shows as well. But and then after that, the Frankston Guitar Festival sort of developed for a while. Oh, and but since the late 2000s, there hasn't been any of those public shows. And I run the Melbourne I run the Australian Music Association, and they wanted to get back into promoting music and with some live and public events, and so we came back and put it back on the calendar last year. Yep. In the same August weekend of 2015, and the show's always been pretty popular and pretty successful, both with the players and the public. From my experience with all of those shows. So I go as far back as the 91 show as well, so
Okay, great.
or 92. So, I've been involved in them all.
Excellent.
And the timing was good, and the industry got behind it last year, and we had a successful weekend.
Fantastic. Yeah, I had a look at last year's program. Yeah, it looked really good. You had some guys like Phil Sobrano involved, Brett Kingman, some really great local guys.
We had the who's who of the Melbourne guitar scene, that's for sure. And it did us proud. I think we had more than 60 separate artists on the show last year, and about 30 performances, and it was a real. We were showing Melbourne off. I thought the talent was just incredible.
That's fantastic. And is it so you've got performances? If we look at this year's program, who have you got performing this year?
Well, this year we've got quite a few of the guys are back, but we've got Kevin Borich coming this year.
Awesome.
Daniel Champagne, awesome young guitar player, singer-songwriter who's been doing a lot of work in America and Canada.
Yep.
In recent times.
I've heard his stuff. Where is he from?
Well, he's Australian. I think he's a Sydney boy.
Oh, okay, cool.
But I'm not 100% sure of that.
Sure.
I know he's coming down from Sydney for our show in August.
Yeah, great.
And I think he's going across then to the Adelaide Guitar Festival the following week.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, Jeff Atchison and Jimmy Hocking are doing their blues show, which is the Soul Diggers band, which is, he's a gun. Well, they both are guns.
Yeah, they're both fantastic.
Both winners of international, awards in the States for blues and guitar playing. So they're a couple of our favourites. Who else have we got this year? Phil Manning is going to be on the show this year.
Oh, cool. Awesome.
Brett and Phil, as you mentioned before. Dean Ray is looking forward to the show as well.
Yeah, cool.
Who else is new this year? Lucas Michaelides, who's just a fine guitar player. John Delaney, Sergio Ercole. Terra Mays is on this year. Really fantastic prog metal band.
Cool.
Featuring Dean Wells. And look, there's going to be at least 50 separate artists and performances over the whole weekend.
Excellent.
So I think we're going to have probably on top of, in addition this year, we're going to have a couple of industry jams basically. So I'm going to try and showcase as many of our great players as we can.
That sounds really good.
One big show, yeah.
Cool. Sounds like you're covering a lot of different styles of guitar playing as well.
Yeah, well, that's our aim. We really want to present young up and comers as well as the legends, and who everyone always love to see. There's some superb young players out there, there's so many good players. It's really hard to get through them all and decide on a lineup. But
sure,
we've got a lot of the guys are coming back this year, and we've got a lot of guys that we couldn't get on last year. So we're sort of happy with that this year.
Yeah, great. That sounds really cool. And so you guys also run some clinics, and you have exhibitors there as well?
Oh yeah, well this year we've got over 70 exhibitors this year.
Wow, that's a bit bigger than last year. Cool.
Yeah, we're up. We've got an acoustic only floor this year.
Oh, nice.
So,
nice.
Yeah. So last year, it was a little bit problematic with the noise at times, and we just felt that for acoustic enthusiasts, it wasn't the greatest environment. So
Sure.
we created one for them upstairs where no amplifications, allowed. And we've also got in that area. We're also going to have a solo guitar player's sort of a performance stage as well to add the extra ambience to that acoustic section and inspire more people to go and look at the guitars after they've seen these fine players.
Awesome. That sounds great.
So it's pretty exciting.
Yeah, cool. Who are some of the exhibitors you have this year?
Well, we've got look at last year's exhibitor list. Pretty much everybody's returning.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
And bigger and better.
Yeah.
We have about 20. We've got 20 odd local makers and luthiers, amp builders. We have about obviously from Melbourne we've got Kramer Music, for example, Ron Lee's Music, the Bass Centre, Acoustic Centre, Pony Music, and all those great retailers that were in the show last year. Plus the wholesalers were having bigger stands, to focus on their brands like Line 6 and Ibanez and Gibson, and Allen's Billy Hyde will be back.
Yeah, cool.
Look, all the world's major brands will be on show in one way or another at the show.
Yeah, great. And this year's...
last year the sales were pretty brisk too, so there must have been some good deals going on.
Oh, cool. So you can buy stuff there as well from the dealers and the luthiers.
Oh, yes, you can.
Yeah, awesome.
The show is a selling show, and obviously you always get some good deals at those times.
Excellent. And it's Mayton's 70th birthday this year. Great Victorian company. I'm sure they'll be there in force.
Fantastic. Well, they will be. I was only at their the book launch last night, which was just fantastic.
Ah, cool. Fantastic.
So, they produced a really thick book focusing on the players that have played Mayton. It's pretty amazing. Pretty amazing effort to celebrate 70 years. And, there's other Australian manufacturers as well, such as Cole Clark and Vase Amplification, George Evans, Melville Guitars are coming down from Queensland.
Great.
We got Quattro Guitars, Delm Guitars, Wildwood Guitars, Beacon Guitars. These are coming down from Sydney. So is Cilia Guitars.
Cilia, yeah, he's local.
All great Australian makers, yeah.
Cool.
Oaken Guitar Technology, Sunburst Music coming down from Sydney.
Oh yeah,
great
yep,
vintage display outside. The show's going to be bigger and better than it was last year. We're confident of that, just sheer by weight of numbers, I think.
Yeah, cool. That's great.
Yeah.
And you guys, what about the clinics you have running throughout the weekend?
Well, most of the clinics we've got running are based this year focusing on technology, effects, pedals, guitar amps, also music education. The AMEB are releasing their Rock School program.
Oh yeah, it looks really cool.
Yeah, that's really cool for a new way through to contemporary music for students in school. We're also going to have a giant ukulele orchestra. We're going to have a ukulele concert featuring a few great players, but we're also going to get the audience to learn to play ukulele in 15 minutes. So then we'll get them all playing for a giant ukulele jam, which should be fun.
Sounds great.
Yeah,
sounds really cool.
Yeah. And we've got guitar synthesizers. We've got, as I say, guitar technology is a real focus in the demos this year and the clinics. Yeah, and so as I say, those big we've got a big acoustic blues show where all the players will be talking about their guitar technique and talking about how they apply it to that. We've got an eclectic acoustic guitar concert on the Sunday.
Right.
With some great players. Are all talking about their instruments and how they play, and then they'll play, and they'll all play together, and the whole thing should be a fantastic event. So there's lots of learning opportunities. We also have the Professor Guitar for people, Professor Guitar, Professor Bass, where we have some fine players just sort of giving people tips and tricks in a very close field workshop-y type of atmosphere.
Okay,
so
great.
Plenty of learning opportunities as well.
Wow, that sounds awesome. So it's in it's August. What are the dates?
August 6 and 7.
Yeah.
At the Caulfield Racecourse.
Great. And how much are tickets?
Oh, look, you can get them online for as little as $16 for a day ticket. Yep. At the gate, generally 20.
Yep.
For a day ticket, 25 for the whole weekend, and family ticket prices, concessions apply as well. So.
Wow, that's fantastic.
At the cost of seeing a movie on a Sunday afternoon, really.
Yeah, definitely. Wow, that's amazing. $25 for the whole weekend. That's brilliant.
A lot of value there, I reckon. That. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Excellent.
Yeah.
And Rob,
well, the Australian Music Association is a not-for-profit organisation. Really, we're all about promoting music making.
yeah, great. I was just about to ask, Rob, what are you doing? What do you do when you're not coordinating guitar festivals?
Well, I run the Australian Music Association.
Yeah, and how long have you been doing that?
I first started that job back in 1990, I think, and
Wow.
organised a lot of trade shows and events for the association, and then I went to Alan's Music for 7 years or so and got involved in the marketing and promotion there, and then the association invited me back in about 3 years ago now. So this is our second guitar show. We're looking at doing all sorts of promotional activities as we go forward anyway, perhaps a drum show.
Yeah, cool.
And, other stuff that just promotes our industry. Our association represents the wholesalers and the retailers of musical products. So, that's what we're doing it for.
Yeah, cool. Rob, sounds awesome. I'm very jealous. We don't have such a thing in Sydney at the moment.
Oh, well, stand by. We never know that Sydney's maybe on the tour schedule. You never know.
Yeah, cool. Oh, we'd love you to bring something out. Excellent.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Well, Rob, mate,
nice
thank
to talk to you, Matt.
Yeah, you too. Thank you so much for your time, and we'll keep an eye out. What's the best way for people to keep up to date with the show and to have a look at the program and that sort of thing?
Well, they can go to australianmusician.com.au, and I'll see a link at the top of the website.
Excellent.
And they'll take you through to the Melbourne Guitar Show site.
Okay.
So we'll be releasing all the details on the 3rd of June.
Okay.
So people will be able to go to the website and see all the exhibitors and the key entertainers and all of that sort of stuff by the weekend.
Oh, excellent. Fantastic. All right. Well, that's great.
Okay.
Well, Rob, thank you so much, mate. Really appreciate your time, and have a great festival.
You're welcome, Matt, and thanks a lot.
Okay. Cheers. Yeah, that sounds really good. I found out later that Rob also helped organise a couple of the big guitar events that have been in Sydney, such as the Guitar Show in the mid-2000s. I don't know if anyone got to that. I did. It was really good. And in the early 90s, a couple of the Ames shows. I think one was at the Showground and one was in Darling Harbour. Hey, let us know if you went to any of those shows. I remember them really fondly. They were lots of fun, and saw some really cool stuff, some great players, some great gear. So hopefully Rob brings another show to Sydney. That'd be awesome. That'd be really cool. All right, well, that's just about all we've got time for today. Now, remember, next week we've got Bob Spencer, Skyhooks, Angels, and working on a really great solo album as we speak. So you don't want to miss that episode. All right, until next time, this is the Guitar Speak podcast. See you later.